welcome back to the final credits. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about the trailer of Knuckles, the Deadpool and Wolverine trailers, and also a little news that we got about Fantastic Four. And we're going to hold out for the best for the last, and that's our Madam Web review.
Okay, if you want to call
With
it
us
that.
today, we got Joey Pancakes,
Hello, hello.
Johnny 64,
Yo.
and yours truly, Mike Spade.
Oh.
So, guys,
Oh, that's what your name is. Got it.
yeah. That's my name. That's my name. So, gentlemen, we're going to be talking a little bit about Knuckles. And I think the only person who is allowed to speak about Knuckles is none other than our friend, Johnny 64.
Yes, our gaming.
Out of the three of us, probably.
That's exactly why.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I was actually surprised by it a little bit because it just looked really good, like movie quality good. Where like you with TV shows that are on streaming that are coming off of like movie offshoots like that we saw with Marvel and whatnot, like there's usually like a decrease in quality a little bit to like
Right.
match a TV budget. But I feel like we didn't get that here. I feel like we legit got something that looked, just as detailed and just as, high budget as something as we got with the Sonic movies. And, I think we got, like most or not all the cast back. We got Idris Elba back as Knuckles himself, which obviously is a great thing. And, like all the action sequences looked great. Like, when the show first got announced, I was a little like, do we really need
Skeptical?
a Knuckles show? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, how would that play out? But this looked like something that was ripped straight from the movie. Maybe it's something that could really be, standing toe to toe with it, and maybe set a new standard for what a movie offshoot streaming television show should be. So,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because it feels so close to the movie that if they turned around and created a series after that with other characters, they don't have to go super big budget to go to the movie theaters, even though they should, because how else are they going to make money?
listen, I know a few people that would be like clawing at a Shadow show after Sonic 3 comes out with
Yeah.
Shadow. So yeah, I mean, this could be the start of a trend there too.
Well, whether it's Sonic and the Shadow movie coming at the end of the year, that's the main course. But we get a nice appetizer with the 6-episode miniseries, and I agree with you. Definitely movie quality. This is another example like of the rare shows we cover on here are adjacent to the movie franchise that we're covering, but this looks spectacular. I love that they did include Sonic and Tails in the trailer, most likely just in the first episode to bridge it while before Knuckles goes off on his side quest. But I'm definitely excited for this. Why not?
Yeah, and I think that's important too. Like, we got to keep Knuckles as the sole focus of the show. Like, it can't be like, because Marvel goes into this all the time, like this trap like that they get themselves into, where it's supposed to be about one character, but they kind of market a show where it's like, well, you really want to see it for this character that's going to show up, like She-Hulk with Daredevil.
I was thinking She-Hulk.
Yeah. So it's like, it can't be something where it's like, yeah, we're supposed to be focused on Knuckles, but like, Sonic might show up any minute, and you really want to see that scene. So I think like you said, like, just get him out of the way maybe in the first episode or two, him and Tails, and then just as long as they have a really compelling story for Knuckles himself. I'm not sure what game they could be adapting from to make a TV show out of it, but
So I'm glad you brought that up because off camera, I was talking to Pancakes and I was like, who's the bad guy in this? Like, who is that guy? I have no idea.
we got to talk about him too. Yeah, whoever he is, I don't
I
even
don't know who he is.
He looks
So
like
who is he?
Eggman Light. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wait, what's going on
Pistol
here?
Pete Whipple.
I don't know if so I'm not enough of a Sonic fan to know if like there's any like game adaptation behind that name, but I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, let us know down in the comments if that's the case, but I think he might be like an original character for this show. We do know from the trailer that he is kind of an offshoot of Eggman, where I think he's using his tech
Right.
or something
Yeah,
like
I saw
that.
that
It's kind
too,
of
yeah.
similar to Vulture, like how Vulture was in Spider-Man,
Spider-Man, yeah.
Homecoming. He might be just using like the scrap tech that like he maybe the guy left behind in like a Sonic fight during the movies or whatever. But I hope there is more to him than that because I can instantly see like the show having a weakness around the villain and
Like a carbon copy of Jim Carrey. It's like, why?
yeah, but like Eggman Light, like I said,
A-
you don't want that.
or
in my opinion.
a leftover henchman that's trying to avenge his work, after failure
Yeah.
of Robotnik.
Yeah, you guys got rid of my boss. Now I'm going to come after you. I can see that playing
So
out.
he's either going to be Michael Keaton's Vulture or Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio,
or a
you know?
combination of all.
Right? Yeah. So I just hope they avoid something where it's like kind of cookie cutter or something that we've like totally seen before. But then again, this is a Sonic TV show aimed at kids on Paramount Plus, so maybe they won't take too much efforts into creating something compelling with the villain. But
And for comedy effect, they're going for the oddball comedy, buddy cop comedy in a way.
Well, just like the original movies, both movies are buddy cop. if you
True,
really think about
but I do like this odd pairing of Knuckles with Adam Polly's character, who's who they're taking from the movie for the spinoff.
Right. So I have a question. It's hard to find budgets that are used for TV shows that are going straight to streaming, right? You can't find these numbers, or at least they don't show them off.
yeah,
So some rumors that I saw was like they spent 90 million on this show, and I feel like that's a lot considering Paramount Plus nobody really gets it.
I mean, yeah, Paramount Plus is definitely not the most successful streaming platform right now, but I think that, I mean, like I said before, the effects, the detail of how everything looks, it looks like Sonic movie level. It
Right.
doesn't look like a slightly cheaper version made for TV type
Correct.
of content. So I think like they definitely boosted their budget just to bring this shoulder to shoulder with the movies itself. So like they're showing people that they're trying to create something worthwhile and something that stands up to the movies, and maybe get them even hyped up for Sonic 3 that'll come out later this year too.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see something that ties into that as well. So we that's something else that I think that's up for speculation, but we'll see.
Probably leading right into Sonic 3 at the ending, whatever. If they presented the after credit scene after the sixth and final episode, I
That'll
hope
tie into Sonic 3.
exactly.
They totally could.
I mean, for now they're calling it a miniseries, but hopefully it does well. We got a season 2, unlike some of the Marvel shows. But with this,
Low blow.
I don't think. Well, this is the
Sorry.
thing. I don't think Knuckles has to be a season 2, season 3 type of thing. Like it could be like it's like you said, it's a 6-episode miniseries. Maybe just keep it at that. Like all this needs to be really is like a stopgap between now and when Sonic 3 comes out. You know?
The character was just so well received in Sonic 2. Like let's give him some spot. Like Sonic and Tails had the guest spots in the first episode, like we were saying, and then let Knuckles
Be the star.
be the star.
And listen, I mean, Knuckles was one of my favorite aspects of Sonic 2. I mean, I thought
that's everybody's.
I thought Idris did such a great job with him, and he was so funny. And like, maybe like the intent right now is to have this be just a 1-season miniseries, but maybe people will love him so much that Sega and Paramount will look at it
movie?
and say, "Hey, people want more Knuckles. Let's try a season 2 and see where we can go with it."
Or a spin-off movie.
Or even his own movie. Yeah, who knows? Who
And-
knows?
and
The Sonic universe can expand easily here. So yeah.
Yeah, this latest installment in the Sonic movie franchise, just brilliant. John Whittington, the co-writer from Sonic 2, is the co-creator and the showrunner on this.
That gives me a lot of hope. That
so
definitely gives
it'll
me
be
a lot of
well
hope.
linked, well connected
Yeah,
in
that's
that
good.
in that universe.
Awesome. Well, guys, those are our thoughts. Let us know what you guys think. Tell us, did you like the trailer? Do you think it's worthy of being on Paramount Plus? Or maybe it should have been a movie and they should have just, dumped it at a movie theater, hoping that they can make their money back. Let us know in the comments down below. So, moving forward, guys, we are going to be talking about the most important thing, I think, today. And that is none other than
The Merc with the mouth.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Or as Hugh Jackman said, Wolverine and asshole.
Asshole, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, we saw this during the Super Bowl. And what do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I think I speak for all of us when I say that out of any commercial we could have seen during the Super Bowl, this was by far the one we were most anticipating. Like we were like waiting for this the most. And I mean, it definitely lived up to the hype a little bit, at least. I was expecting to see a little bit more Wolverine, but I think that's only because we've seen so many behind the scenes leaks and set pics and whatnot that maybe, like I said, our expectations a little higher than it needed to be. But he's back. He's in the Disney Marvel Studios universe now, and
he's in yellow.
He's letting everybody know it.
He's in yellow.
Wolverine is in yellow, yeah. And to me, I think I'm more excited about Wolverine being in his 90s X-Men 97 costume rather than like Deadpool being back. Like Deadpool's going to be great. I don't think there's any doubt that he's not going to be funny. Like he's
right.
It's going to be like another great, funny, laugh your ass off, R-rated humor Deadpool movie, without a doubt. Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine for the past 25 plus years. And, we've been owed and teased that, one day we'll see him in that classic comic book accurate costume. This has to be it. At this point, I'm just waiting for the teaser or the trailer or even to see it in the movie that he finally puts the cowl on and we get that full suit ready and just, finally just get that closure. The only thing that we haven't gotten left with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character yet is that costume.
I feel, though, I'm the only one that doesn't care about the yellow costume. Like, I don't care if they bring it or they don't bring it.
Are you just excited that it's Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine?
No, I'm just excited that they're actually doing a Deadpool Wolverine movie, regardless of whether Hugh Jackman is in it or not. It's just, I feel like the costume to me doesn't matter. I feel that the costume is more of this is a way for us to generate money with the kids.
Absolutely.
Buying all the toys.
Fan service?
No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt about
100%.
that.
But I don't feel like it needs to be in the movie. Like even those crappy from the X-Men, the original X-Men movies, their costumes, like it was okay. It's a movie. You can't take everything from a comic book and make it into real life. Right?
It was good at the time, but the key term is teaser trailer, and we got the trailer pretty early on, like really at the beginning of the game, and they made us go to YouTube to watch the whole thing.
Well, of course, they weren't going to spend Super Bowl money on a full 2-minute trailer.
Man!
But I disagree with you, Speed, respectfully, but I love the fact that it's under the MCU banner and Marvel and Disney got the rights back to it, that he has to be in the yellow costume, and I want him in the costume. And the fact that we see that little tease at the end when Deadpool is on the ground exhausted, and then Wolverine in the classic costume, even though it's real quick and we got the behind the scenes, I'm excited for the nostalgia, but I friggin' can't wait. This is a franchise that Deadpool, we know what we're getting. It stays in its lane while interacting with the bigger universe. With the first two movies, while still under the Fox banner, he's he interacted with the greater X-Men universe at the time, but
sprinkled in here and
there. In there, but he was the star. Now it's still very much his story, but Wolverine coming in, Hugh Jackman coming in, and he referenced him. We saw images of him, like spoiler alert, after credits scene of Deadpool 2, he travels back in time to the Wolverine X-Men Origins movie where he kills himself, and it's archive footage of Hugh Jackman because we didn't really think he would actually come back. But I think the one catch is, like, I think they're gonna leave the Logan story alone, and this is gonna be a Hugh Jackman playing another version of the character.
It has to be. I mean, because that's what I'm saying before
TVA,
too,
right?
Well, yeah, I was going to mention that too, but also like I said before, like there's literally not much left you can do with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character at this point. They like you said, they closed the story with Logan. We had well, not really so proper because the X-Men Fox universe has been over the place timeline wise, but like we've seen Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in every scenario possible. I think the only things we haven't seen yet is him in his classic costume and him having like a full-fledged buddy thing going on with Deadpool, because we wanted to see him. We saw Deadpool interact with other lesser X-Men characters in his previous movies, and that just always teased like the notion of, hey, we should definitely get a movie in with like Wolverine and the others. But him and Wolverine, I think, is after this movie, there's nothing else you could do with Hugh Jackman at this point. Now, going on to the other half of what this trailer showed off, the multiverse concept.
Oh boy, here we go.
The TVA, yeah, really cool. I was expecting to see Mobius.
I'm expecting
but-
you to get triggered.
No, I mean we knew the thing is all right. So I've said this from the beginning, like way back when the concept of the multiverse was being teased with No Way Home rumors and all that stuff.
Right.
I said this in our chats like years and years ago. Like if anybody was going to make the multiverse work, it was going to be Deadpool because Deadpool can. Because in the comics, he could literally just hop out of one comic book, one comic book square and fix something in another square and then jump back into the original
Right.
one and say whatever. So you can break the fourth wall. You can do whatever the hell you want with Deadpool and make it funny and make it work. And like, if anyone's gonna make sense out of the multiverse at this point, I think at one point in the trailer he even says like, "I gotta fix this multiverse mess," and I'm like, "Yes, you do," because I don't know who else can.
I am Marvel Jesus.
Yeah, the Marvel Jesus. That's gonna be the iconic line too. But yeah, I mean, I think incorporating the TVA into it is definitely a smart move. Again, I was expecting to see Owen Wilson's character come back from Loki as Mobius.
He's in the movie.
He should be. Yeah, maybe he is.
We
but,
don't know that.
But we see.
don't know that, Pancakes.
Well, we see a new character from the
Right.
TVA interact with Deadpool.
But this could be a variant of the TVA.
Well, no, the TVA is supposed to be just it's outside of time and space. So the
But this
TVA
guy's-
is just the TVA.
Right, but this guy's name is, if you watch, I watched the trailer
Maybe
in
that
subtitles, right? In captions, the captions were on, and it
Yeah.
said his name was Paradox. It wasn't.
Well, maybe he's a variant of Mobius or somebody
possible,
else.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what they do with that. But I just hope by the end of the movie we get like a proper MCU original casting of Wolverine. Like this is like a low key passing of the mantle from Hugh Jackman to somebody new. It needs to happen.
I don't think so.
No, it needs to happen. After this, like after Logan, like that should have been it for Hugh Jackman. Here, it's like we get whatever's left with Wolverine, what we can do with Hugh Jackman, and then let him pass it on to like a definitive MCU original version of Wolverine, and let it and figure out a way to explain that for the rest of the MCU.
I'm for it, but it has to be like seeds planted because if the rumors and the leak images or anything, this is gonna be a very busy movie with a lot of moving parts, and you have all these rumor cameos with. So I don't know if where that's gonna fit in, if they're gonna establish the MCU Wolverine, but based on everything we're hearing, confirmed and not confirmed, images leaked, this one trailer, let it be its own standalone thing, and maybe an after credit scene could lead into the establishment.
Well, no. So, and this is something that I was also thinking of too, because the last movie, we're not getting this movie until July. The last Marvel movie we got was The Marvels back in October or something.
November.
Oh, November. I mean, the post-credit scene we got for that movie was a glimpse into the X-Men universe that's separate from the MCU, but still within the Marvel's universe. With Teyonah Parris's character, I forget it, Monica Rambeau, like somehow she's trapped in it.
Yeah.
I want to believe that this version of Hugh Jackman that we're seeing here is from that same universe. And I feel like we got that post-credit scene in the Marvels for a reason, because clearly the next movie we're getting after that is this one. So
It's possible.
I feel like that, they might have done that on purpose.
I want to go into a little bit about what Pancakes brought up with the whole, not teaser, but the rumors of everyone's going to be in here. Like we're talking about Taylor Swift being in here.
No. Maybe that one.
They're saying that Taylor Swift's going to play Dazzler. They're saying that what is his name from Magic Mike is going to play Gambit.
Channing
Tatum.
Tatum.
Because he was supposed to develop.
He was original.
He was
the
going to be
original, yeah.
Gambit.
I believe that more than the Taylor Swift thing. If Taylor Swift was really in this movie, they would have put that in the trailer. Just because of the,
I don't know, man.
the Kansas City hype alone.
Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra.
And Ben Affleck as Daredevil. So there's a lot being said.
Chris Evans supposedly coming back as not Captain America. Human Torch.
Yeah.
From the original.
You know what, though? You guys are listing all these names, and I can't help but get the same vibes that I was getting during Multiverse of Madness. Like, Tom Cruise is going to be Iron Man, and we're going to get all these other cameos and all these other universes.
I think they learned from it.
I hope. I want to hope so.
I don't think it's Marvel that learned from it. I think that Ryan Reynolds learned from it and said, hey, you know what? Marvel screwed up when it came to all these special guests, but I'm going to do it well, because what did he do well in the second the second Deadpool movie. He brought back Brad Pitt in it for a split second.
Yes, that was
right.
freaking amazing.
He did all that, like the way he used his special appearance by all these other actors. It was very short and sweet and simple and straight to the point. So I feel like he might do justice to this.
The cameos need to be like comedic and quick. I don't
think they will
it
be.
can't be like, we can't be expecting like a Spider-Man No Way Home scenario where like, you know,
No.
like where Daredevil and Elektra actually have like a role in all this. They don't. I think they're going to be jumping some universe. Like we've seen like there's a behind the scenes image of like a giant 20th Century Fox logo.
That's hilarious.
In stone, like, you know, crumbled down. So like, you know, maybe they're jumping from one universe to the next like that, and they just run into them. They die some like comedically, some like, you know, in a funny way, and then they move on, you know, to the next part of the movie. I don't think they should be dwelling on any cameo that they throw at us.
As long as it's 100 times better than the cameos that were used in The Flash.
Oh, we're not even going to talk about that. We're not even talking about that.
I totally agree with you on that. I really think that they should do better.
Well, see, this is the difference: is that The Flash is a movie. It's a movie that took itself seriously when it shouldn't have.
Right.
But Flash as a character is, you know, you can't compare it to Deadpool because Deadpool is not a serious character either. You know, his source material is meant to be a parody of things. That's why I always said he would be the one to make sense of the multiverse, because the multiverse can't make sense, and he's the only one that can break the fourth wall to at least poke fun at it.
Yeah.
And you know. And that's, in my opinion, that's what the multiverse should be. But we'll see how deep they go with that in Deadpool and Wolverine.
And one more thing on the TVA, I had to think about this for a moment. Like, why would they bring him in? I forget that the end of Deadpool 2, he went back in time to change history to save Vanessa.
Yeah.
And that will attract their attention. And it'd be interesting. I wonder where in this timeline does it take place, before Loki season 2, concurrently, or after?
I want to say that it's after.
Yeah.
Because Loki, what did season 2 of Loki do, right? It connected everything. It made everything survive. Right?
Yeah.
So because it survived, it should happen after season 2. Because if it didn't survive, then
Yeah, and I think the scenes that we got of the TVA showed that like they had their shit together. You know, like they were, like things weren't in chaos.
they were
like,
more militaristic if you think about it.
Yeah, and maybe that's something else too. That's a development. But
Maybe it could be an offshoot. An offshoot
Kang
stable
version?
Yeah, stable, like that more militant version we saw in Loki season 2 that they're battling before they get reunited at the end of Loki 2. So maybe that's the possibility that this movie is taking place at the same time, and that more militant version of the TVA is going after Deadpool, but to save the Earth 616.
616, yeah.
You know, in order to live up to his punishment and do penance, he's like, oh, you can travel, you could, you know, go after so and so in the universe. So that begins the fuckery of Deadpool and Wolverine.
now I'm realizing that all this talk about the TVA is making me really hope that we get a Ki-Hu Kwan cameo. I would love, like, that would really make the movie for me.
An Obi campaign.
Yeah, Obi. Yeah.
Actually, you know who I really want them to bring back?
Tom Hiddleston as Loki?
No. Damn, I forgot his name.
Not Owen Wilson.
No. The dude from the Ant-Man movies.
Oh, Luis.
Luis. Bring back Luis. If he comes out of nowhere and is like, so let me do a rundown of what happened to you.
And you hear those bongos?
And then, yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you hear him saying, well, so what happened was Professor X did this in the Fox universe and blah, 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 blah. Like a real quick rundown. I think they could even do that now. Like, even if they take my idea and they just say, you know what, that's a great idea.
Michael Pena. That's the actor's name.
Michael Pena. Yeah.
So
But
if they call him up and be like, hey, listen, we need you for like 3 hours, and have him just sitting behind a green screen. Behind his green screen, he's like just saying everything. And then all they got to do is just pay somebody to just edit things that happened between all the X-Men movies. And then bam, you have a 1 minute, 2 minute, what is it called? Like a trailer.
Sum up.
A sum up, yeah. A sum up
Or
of
summary.
what happened with all the movies. And Deadpool coming out of nowhere and saying, yeah, this stuff sucks. Let me show you what it really did.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've been dreaming of just seeing Deadpool, like just the Deadpool literally in a like director's chair or something in a movie set with like some sort of like 20th Century Fox logo, and like a lawyer somebody just like an executive just walks up to him with a bunch of papers, legal papers, and he reads it and he's like, oh, okay, gets up, leaves the studio, walks across the street to Disney Studio, Marvel Studios, and sits down in that seat and just says, "Well, now I'm part of this universe," and then the movie begins.
Yeah, I'm totally for that.
I'm still holding up. That's my personal dream for this movie that I've had for
agree.
years.
I'm so for that. So, anything else, Pancakes? You want anything else to bring up?
The opening scene that we got in the teaser trailer, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a dream or in his head. And then the TVA arrested him, and he wakes up in the TVA, and he was having that dream
With him in the wig.
with him in the wig and the shirt and the birthday party.
Speaking of the wig, did you notice that the wig was stapled to his head, and then when they ripped it off and he's in the TVA, you could still see the staples in his head? That was great.
Christ.
That's great. Anyway, so everyone, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Tell us, are you guys excited as we are? Are you less excited? Are you going to be more excited about the next topic we're going to be talking about? Let us know in the comment section below. So, guys, guess what?
What's that?
The next thing we're going to be talking about is something similar to Deadpool and Wolverine. And it's none other than X-Men 97.
Oh yeah.
So-
Marvel was having a really good week this past week. let me tell you.
We got
right
more
now.
Marvel things to talk
After-
about, but
Yeah.
Yeah, after the letdown of 2023, they've had a
And
good week.
22 and 21 and 20.
Everything
Well,
after
20,
Endgame.
okay, 23 in particular, they've had a good publicity week, but
Yeah.
the fact that they're keeping the time frame of the ending of X-Men 97 and going into it, and still having the 90s theme, obviously the animation has to be updated
Right.
but it looks so good. I feel like I'm back as a kid watching the show, and I did a rewatch, and the show still holds up. But the fact that we're getting a sequel series, I think most of the voice cast came back.
Yeah, most of it did.
except for
No,
one.
that's good.
But the teaser that Professor X's dad, we know he's probably coming back.
Well, of course. I mean,
And
no character in a comic book,
the-
movie, or universe.
See, for
ever really
me,
dies.
this is the de facto X-Men lineup. I know it's not the original, quote unquote, even though they hinted at it in the show. But for me, this is my favorite X-Men lineup of characters, and the fact that we got the teaser that supposedly Charles left the mansion and the X-Men with Magneto in charge. That was like, whoa.
Yeah, I feel like somebody was messing up his will. Why would he do that? Towards the end of that series, if memory serves correct, because I haven't watched it in 20 years,
Yeah.
but they were still not
Battling.
on good terms. But of all people, why would you give your stuff to your
Well, that's the
nemesis?
hook to get us in. Like, why?
Yeah, I guess. But so Johnny, what do you think?
Well, first things first, I thought it's really interesting that we have another new Marvel sub tag now called Marvel Animation.
Animations,
We just had Marvel Spotlight with Echo, and now we have this. So, I mean, the first thing that popped in my mind when I saw that, I was like, if we're getting X-Men 97, can we also get Spider-Man 97 or 98? Whatever.
No.
Like, can we do that too? Because they had tie-ins, man. Like, and
They did cross over.
They
Yeah,
did. I
like-
think it was like 2 episodes they crossed over. But the thing is, though,
because it's
first
the
off,
same
you need
universe.
to find somebody else to voice Madam Web from the 97 Spider-Man show, because the person who did that voice was Stan Lee's wife, and sadly,
Oh, she passed away.
She
Yeah.
passed away.
They would find somebody else. for
Yeah,
sure.
so that's
Yeah.
fine. But I just want, as much as I love Spider-Man 97, just let it die, because they did MJ dirty in that.
Yeah, well, what I love too is that like how much they're just like leaning into the whole '90s aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like we got like the trailer opens up with like an old CRT TV, and like I think we had like a poster of like all the old VHS tapes that like spelled out the logo and everything like that. It's just I love that, and it gives this show so much personality. And I feel like that's something that we haven't gotten from Marvel in a while with MCU stuff. Like everything is just has been kind of, at least with the marketing, has been the typical, fun time for everybody, Marvel pew pew punch punch stuff. And this is like, like we're
Light up hands.
yeah, but this was just like, like the 90s are back, and like we got we're showing things on the old TV just like old times. Like they're really like ripping hard into the nostalgia factor, which is like, either you like it or you don't. I personally love it, but like I like the personality that they're trying to inject into the show, because I think it was really easy to make this like a very like a sanitized modern version that doesn't add up to the original type of show. And I feel like they're trying to show everybody that this is going to be a really good continuation of what we got. And another thing too, what I saw after the fact was that this is going to be a TV-14 show.
Oh, is it really?
It is. Yeah.
Because it's a show for us that grew up with it back in the 90s.
Oh, I never realized.
Yeah.
that. I never noticed that, to be honest.
I was expecting PG at least, but like TV-14, that opens up a lot of doors in my opinion.
They did kind of pull for a kid show, they did kind of push the envelope back in the day for a very serious issue, but kept it contained.
But now this makes it a lot easier to
Right.
allow like darker elements to come into the show. So I think, you know, it's
First of all, it was pretty dark.
of course, but that was the 90s. You can have like we had like G-rated things that involve death and despair and, you know, things that traumatize us to this day, but you know, like Lion King and Mufasa, we all know how it looked, right? You know,
What
things
about-
like that. But
what
Little
about the-
toaster that could?
yeah, oh, the brave little toaster.
Brave Little Toaster?
Before we
Yeah.
move
Oh
on,
my God.
another thing before we move on, another thing of note, Jean Grey and Scott Summers are having a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now-
she's pregnant. Yeah.
Now I'm curious, which child is it going to be? Is it going to be Cable? Is it going to be who's Nathan Summers? That's his real.
Nathan Summers is Cable, but then it could also be. Well, that wasn't the real Jean Grey, was it? Because it could be Nate Grey, because Nate Grey was X-Man and he was the child of.
Yeah.
Okay, just so everyone understands,
Speculation time.
Nothing
the
confirmed. Just
X-Men universe is so convoluted with so much time travel that it would make Johnny's head explode.
Probably.
In the comic books.
right.
Now, on the shows, we have no idea yet. But if Johnny was reading these comics, he would literally throw them up against the wall and be like, "That's it. I'm done with time travel. I don't want to deal with none of this crap.
No more
anymore."
X-Men.
That's it. No more X-Men.
No more.
without
No
ge-
more mutants.
Well, without getting into how complex that is, it's so cool that they are bringing back Bishop. That's
Yeah, that's cool. And I like that they kept the M for, So, look, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm more excited about this than I am of Deadpool and Wolverine.
that's okay.
I feel like that I agree with you, and I feel like that's going to be a common theme with the things
This-
the other things we talk about in this show today.
Okay.
I'll get into why later on.
Okay.
But
This the original show was the one that did the Phoenix storyline the correct way, unlike the failures in the X-Men movies.
Yes, totally.
That was straight from the comic.
Yeah, well, for the
Well-
most part.
well,
yeah.
most-
Yeah.
It was the best version of the Phoenix story.
Yeah, because the movie version was so bad that let's not talk about it.
Yeah, it failed multiple times. Moving
yeah, we
On
already
to the next
already have
thing.
one terrible Marvel movie to talk about. in
Moving
this show.
forward on that
moving
one.
forward.
Yeah. But do you think what's one thing that you think that it might not do well? Do you think that
if you're
I feel like the only thing that would make it not do well is if they drop all the episodes at once. If they did it week to week, every single week there's a new episode, I feel like it would gain traction and people would watch it. If they don't do that, I feel like it's a wash.
I think it might be a weekly thing because with the Star Wars, the Bad Batch show, another recent not Marvel, excuse me, Disney show on the Star Wars side of things, that was a weekly thing.
Right.
But with the Marvels, but the animation is probably going to be treated different than live action. I know with Echo, they released it all at once to try something different. But for some reason, I feel like this is going to be a weekly release. But I think that's TBD with that.
I agree with you. It should be. And if they really wanted to lean into the whole 90s aesthetic, they would release every episode at 9 or 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. And all of us can wake up just like we did back in the day to watch this show on Fox. I think that would be such a great way to do it. They probably won't do it that way. But especially since it's TV-14.
That would be good. Honest to God, I never thought of that.
They've
but
been
that
doing
makes
timed
sense.
releases with their other shows, like at 9 p.m., like with their Ahsoka and
I
other
still
shows.
think that they're testing things out.
And
to see.
Yeah, I think that would just be a cool thing to like a new thing to test.
Right.
So yeah, that would just be like my perfect way of doing it.
One of the greatest TV themes openings of all time, and with that very catchy guitar riff, like
which we've been hearing little snippets of in the live
Yeah.
action MCU shows and movies as of late.
if it would tag our channel for copyright infringement, I would love to play it right now. But
Yeah.
it's just so it's iconic. I hope that they'll probably do an updated version of it, but I can't wait to hear that. I can't wait to hear it. Obviously you can play it any day of the week, but to see it in the format of a sequel series, let's freaking go.
Now, going back to your question before, though, about what could trip this up, is that I feel like technically, like, this is going to resonate with all the old X-Men 97 fans, like the original X-Men cartoon fans. But will it, kind of crack into the modern day audience that maybe haven't seen the show, or maybe they're too young to remember the show back in the day? And if that's the case, does it turn into a homework assignment to watch? Like, will people feel like they need to watch the original 90s show to understand this? Because this is coming off of the last episode, as we saw in the trailer. So, is that continuation like something that might hold it back?
They might do flashbacks to of events of the past to catch up
That would be smart.
the new audience.
Because it would be easier that way.
It gives context and then make
Yes.
people interested in wanting to see like where that original scene came from. So I agree with that too.
I guess one concern is getting so caught up in the nostalgia of the hype that the quality that we actually get is a bit of a letdown, because it's coming in with high expectations of a sequel to a classic show. 20 something years later, nearly 30 years later, it's
Well, the animation,
it started in 94, no?
27 years later, because X-Men 97, it ended in 97.
Yeah.
So
Right.
doing
the
quick
original
math-
show should be called 94.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're talking about like the animation quality too, like, yeah, it went down a little bit in my opinion, but they try to make it look as close to the original as possible.
Right.
I understand that there are certain quote unquote assets that have been reduced
Oh, Lord.
in this show.
I wanted to bring that up, but I was like, I need a segue.
I will just leave it at that.
I need
But
a segue for that
obviously,
one.
that's really frivolous, and that's just meme-worthy jokes that you can make out of that stuff. I'm not even going to care about it. But
did
I
roll
mean,
dirty.
nothing. But jokes aside, I will say that like nothing will beat the original type of animation, like
Nope.
that hand-drawn, like super detailed style. We haven't gotten anything like that in any sort of animated medium like the past like 15 years, I would say. So I wouldn't expect it anymore, but yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make that comparison, obviously the original is gonna win every time. So you shouldn't go into this show expecting a crazy quality animation spectacle, but it looks good either way. So
yeah, you guys, let us know what you guys think. Tell us, are you excited? Do you feel like this is going to be the greatest sequel series, I guess you could say?
are you excited for?
All right, that's enough. If you don't want to get
And copyright.
With that said, let us know down in the comment section. So, guys, oh man, this is going to be fun. Our
Okay.
next topic is a little bit more on the positive side of Marvel, and it's none other than
We've been getting a lot of positivity this
yeah.
past week.
So
but-
we're going to be talking about
the first family, baby.
the first Marvel family. And in case anyone doesn't know, the first Marvel family is none other than Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Girl, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm as the Thing, and the Human Torch, Johnny Storm. Guys,
And together they're the
the
Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm gonna just give you guys a little round out of who's playing who, right? So we got Vanessa Kirby, who some people may or may not know is
We
she
saw
was
her
in
in
Napoleon.
Napoleon.
She
Yep.
played Josephine Bonaparte.
Yep.
She was the White Widow in Mission Impossible,
Yes.
Dead Reckoning, and in Fallout.
She was
Yes.
she was amazing in the last Mission Impossible.
Yeah, she was
Right.
really good when we saw that movie.
And she was also on the show The Crown.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now, Joseph Quinn, who plays her little brother, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, is played by none other than, come on, Pancakes, tell us who he is. Where's he from?
Eddie from Stranger Things.
That's it.
With the yes, I know you're gonna say I'm biased because of the song and the scene, but one of the most iconic scenes in the history of shows or the history of Stranger Things, TV in general. With
Yeah, I think you said it right the second time when you said in Stranger Things. Not
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
all of shows.
well,
but yeah.
considering he's playing my favorite song by my favorite band, Metallica. I hope Eddie comes back for the final season, but that's yet to be seen.
We'll see. It
But
all
he was
depends.
definitely the scene stealer for the last season of Stranger Things with that gigantic cast. And unfortunately, spoiler alert, but it's been 2 years. His character didn't make it to the end.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we have Ebon Moss Bachrach. Forgive me if I said it wrong, but yeah. So he's going to play Ben Grimm, who he is also on the show The Bear.
Yeah, he was really good on The Bear.
He
I
was
didn't
great on The
complete
Bear.
that series, but he's the cousin, I guess.
Yeah, he
he's,
plays-
he's,
yeah.
re- he's
Hey,
really
cousin.
good.
And
Okay.
he was on 3 episodes of Andor. That's where I remember him from.
But
Oh,
you know
really?
where
Huh.
you know where I remember him from, and it just hit me like
like a ton of
a
bricks.
a few days ago. He played Microchip on the Punisher
That's
TV
right.
series.
Oh,
Yes, I
shit.
forgot about that.
No way. Oh, yeah.
But you couldn't really tell it was him
Right.
because he had grown out a bigger beard. His hair was long.
Now I
got
gotta
to
rewatch that show.
Yeah,
Damn,
and-
I didn't realize that.
He's orange in this picture.
Yeah, and he's orange in this picture. And let's not forget the main attraction to this reveal.
I can't believe this rumor
of the
was true.
Of,
Yeah.
of the first family, and we got Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, who we heard a lot of rumor rumblings about. Like we kind
a
of saw
long
him
time.
coming. I think Vanessa Kirby too. We heard some rumblings about. The rest
She-
to me, the rest of the cast was kind of a surprise. But yeah, I mean, Pedro Pascal when he was first announced, I was just like, I mean, I love Pedro Pascal. I
I don't think
mean,
there's anybody who does it.
he's amazing in The Mandalorian. He's amazing in The Last of Us. He was the only semi decent thing in Wonder Woman 84. As horrible as that movie
He was okay in that.
yeah, but he was the only like positive thing about that movie. But you put him in anything, and he always gives 110%. So he wouldn't have been like my first idea, not even my first pick, but like my first idea of who I would think of as Reed Richards. But you know what? He's here now, and I'm excited for it. He looks good here. I mean, they gave him like the little like salt and pepper look in his
Yeah.
hair. He's got his look going on. I'm excited for this entire cast. I think this is another like AAA, like Marvel Studios like crack casting team has done it once again, in my opinion. Because they if there's one thing that they've never faulted on is like casting the right people for the right role. And I think we're gonna see another instance of that here. They all look great. But I think it's just the way, like what I want to talk about at least is just not only like what they revealed, but how they did it.
That was
Because
so surprising how they did it.
just
Valentine's
out of
Day.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. You see a little a little chocolate thing on Vanessa Kirby's
on
lap
Storm.
there.
I have a theory.
They came out on social media just saying Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Here's the new Fantastic Four. And I'm like, everybody was like, what the? I stopped everything I was doing that. I was in the middle of work and I texted you guys all in all caps. Because what we saw first was the logo, which was
Yeah.
also very interesting. It's very obviously all this takes
Retro-ish.
place in the '60s. We'll talk about that too. It looks like something out of the like I Dream of Jeannie almost. So I shared that first. I was like, oh shit, look at this. This is like unlike anything we've seen before from a Fantastic Four movie. And then that came right after, and I was like, guys, oh my god, look, it's that like this is crazy. Because it's like just look at them, them.
Yeah.
They have this isn't like the futuristic that like iterations that we've been getting. They're wearing blue sweatshirts. They look like classic. Like this is like a classic '60s superhero flick.
They look like blue collar workers.
Yeah, but like they never and like obviously like from the picture above thing like obviously they're at least he's gonna be like an astronaut, but I'm sure they're all involved with like NASA in some way, and that's how they're gonna get into the whole thing. But like the fact that this takes place in the '60s,
we don't know that yet. We don't know
do
that
know
yet.
Assuming. We're assuming.
No,
It's
because
not
a good
confirmed
assumption.
yet.
it has to at least like a significant portion of it. Why would they? Because that like why would they reveal it like this? Why would they
For nostalgia effect.
Why would no? But like nostalgia for what? It's we've had the animated like an old animated series of them. Like it's not because of that. They're trying to send a message with how they showed this off and the style of what they showed off.
Besides John Krasinski's cameo and
Forget him.
Hold on.
Forget him.
Hold on.
Blah.
Besides that cameo, there haven't been much established Easter eggs or that the Fantastic Four exist in this universe. We had Captain America: First Avenger, that's World War II, the first Captain Marvel in the 90s. There's nothing referencing the first family in the 1960s. So I think they're just doing this to catch our eye. It has the nostalgic feel. It looks absolutely great.
There's a very low chance. Why? Like
No.
I think I think so because like between the style of this poster and the style of the logo itself, why would they go out of their way to reveal
I'm in
it like
agreement with
this?
you,
Until we
Johnny.
get
And
until we get that first trailer, I think they're just doing this to catch our eye.
I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment because because you have to understand this as well. Fantastic Four as a movie series has never done well. period. And Marvel Studios wants to separate themselves from those older movies, especially the 2016 version, which was just complete garbage. And I think
We don't talk about that.
but like every single one of them, like they always had like that futuristic look, and there was always modern day. They really like if Marvel Studios always wants to do something, they always want to pull out the rug from underneath people's expectations. Say, no, we're gonna go in this direction in this type of style instead, and taking them back to a 60s style that we like, and that's a type of style that we haven't gotten in the MCU yet. I think like this is where they're going to go with it. Maybe by the end of the movie, they'll have some sort of time jump where they'll be in modern day.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming.
I think that's what it's going to be. But this is, at least for this movie, the majority of this movie, this is what they're going to be like. And I am so freaking here for it. If they go the route that you're saying, I will actually be disappointed.
Well, is it going to be a standalone, which takes place in the 60s, maybe in another universe? Then they get stuck. I think you pointed out, Speed, in the negative zone, and then they'll be brought back to the modern day.
That was my assumption. That's what I was guessing.
Until we get further confirmation, a trailer, I think this is just a marketing tool for now to generate the excitement.
It's possible.
I'll ask you this question. What is that little robot character right there? Why would they create
Rosie
a little
from the Jetsons?
It's Rosie from the Jetsons, yeah. But like, why would they go out of their way to show off a little thing like that if this was an essential theme of the movie? You know what I mean?
He's got a point.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw something out at you guys that most people aren't really talking about, and it's like you're looking at this, right? And you're like, oh, we got everything. Just one thing missing.
Dr. Doom?
Dr. freaking Doom.
Oh, you know what?
It's coming. It's coming.
No,
I feel like there's a whole
like a
debate.
silhouette by the window.
No.
Of Dr. Doom, just like, I'm a peeping Tom.
Listen.
No, but I feel like I get it. It's all marketing and everything, and this is what they thought of. And who's to say that, on the next holiday, they don't pop up out of nowhere and saying Doom comes out of nowhere? Like,
when it comes to Doom, I'm going to say this. First of all, he is my favorite Marvel villain, period.
I think it's everyone's.
Period,
He's not
yeah.
even a villain. He's just misunderstood.
Yeah, right. But like, just like I was
Dictator
saying
of a
before,
country.
yeah. So this is what I want to say is that just like how I was saying before that the movies as a whole, Fantastic Four movies have never done well. They never ever got right the character of Doom, which blows my mind in my opinion because there's so much material for him that you can just like adapt. But so again, Marvel Studios wants to do this right, and they know if they're going to do Doctor Doom, if they're doing Fantastic Four, they got to do Doctor Doom, and if they're doing Doctor Doom, he has to be the definitive live action movie version of this character, and they know they have to do him right. And I bet, well, I don't want to bet you, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have him be in this movie, but they gave us a surprise announcement. Maybe a post-credit scene, but an announcement that he's going to get his own movie explaining who he is, showing off Latveria, where he comes from, and setting up that entire lore. If they do it that way, for Marvel Studios, I think that's the best way for them to really nail it in that Doctor Doom is going to be the next big bad.
I never thought of that, but
because he should be the next big bad. It's like little to no question at this point.
But again, he's not really big bad.
But he's iconic.
Yes,
he's so iconic. If you were setting up Kang to be a big bad, there's no reason why he shouldn't be Doom.
Just going back to the casting, Vanessa Kirby, and you see the fan made posters, photos, perfect casting.
They look great.
The Pedro Pascal casting caught me by surprise because I'm surprised they went with a little older actor, but it established a veteran actor. I'm probably gonna get attacked for this. I really thought they were gonna go the John Krasinski route.
No.
Hold on.
He was horrible. I don't care what anybody says.
It was a fan
Destroy
casting.
me in the comment section. There is nothing that was great about John Krasinski.
Until more information comes out from behind the scenes of who was actually in the running for the casting, I wouldn't be surprised if he was in talks to do it, and he was off for the road and he turned it down so he could work on his own movie. Quiet Place, was it the second one?
I thought it was understood that he was made as a fan casting, like for memes in Multiverse of Madness.
I think that's
and
why
nothing
he
else.
agreed to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
and
because
besides he's currently or spaghetti now, so it's
good.
That was
stay as spaghetti.
That was Earth 838, so that was a different variant. But
doesn't matter.
I mean, had they gotten him, I wouldn't have been, like disappointed. I would have thought like, oh, cool, like they kept him. But like, I think what we have here, they got everybody here for a reason, and because they're gonna find the best fits for these classic characters, and I think they might have nailed it here.
I'll say this: the excitement for this is real. This is probably the most exciting thing that they finally got back into the Marvel MC. They finally got into the MCU since possibly Spider-Man, when Sony finally agreed to let them use the character. We're seeing sprinkles of the X-Men, but we don't have the established X-Men lineup. We have the established Fantastic Four lineup. When you think classic Marvel characters, you think Spider-Man, Avengers, etc. But Fantastic Four we're finally getting. So, and I think this is a really cool thing. I mean, we'll have a disagreement about what time period until we get more information besides the Valentine's Day posts.
And this is the thing too. This is why like I'm feeling so excited. Like I haven't felt excited for an MCU movie like in a long time.
Right.
This is the first like piece of content from Marvel Studios that we've gotten previous movies of, like different iterations of before. And now we're getting a brand new original casting, definitive MCU version of it. And we haven't gotten that since probably Spider-Man. We haven't gotten that since Tom Holland, if you think about it. Like a Marvel movie property that we had a different iteration of in the past, and now we're getting an all-new, all-original MCU version of it. That's what the MCU, I feel, was made for in the first place. Like it was meant to be like a universe made for like definitive movie versions, like doing it right. Like, you've seen them before, but you haven't seen them like this. And this is going to be like your favorite version of it. And I think that's what they're doing here. And we haven't got that in such a long time that I feel like that's also part of something that like kind of not derailed Marvel Studios over time, but kind of made them feel more stale because they've just been throwing so many new characters, secondary characters at us that haven't really gone anywhere. And this is like a big deal type of, set of characters that like, for once, like we're actually getting our own version rather than them pulling castings from older movies and putting them into this movie and saying it's multiverse shit, Mm-hmm. So, and like what you were saying before, I am definitely more excited about this one announcement than I was about the Deadpool trailer. Because of that, of what I was saying.
I will agree with you. I was more excited about this, but I am more excited about X-Men 97.
All right.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's a whole like other like type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess because it's more recency bias, I'm more excited for Deadpool and Wolverine, and we just got a casting announcement for now because I'm more of a bigger fan of those characters and say the Fantastic Four. And I'm curious with what made them go with this way of announcing. It's definitely something different. Definitely catches the eye.
It's a marketing ploy.
Yeah, instead of
got people talking.
Instead of waiting for San Diego Comic-Con, which would have been like almost exactly a year before the movie release, or D23 or a bigger platform like this, instead of a post on social media.
Unless the trailers come out those days.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That could
Because
be
if the trailers come out those days, then
that could be the case too.
Yeah. So now they already have the buzz going. And then they're going to have another buzz again at either a D23 or a Comic-Con or.
And I can't wait.
One bad side effect is Last of Us season 2 is delayed to 2025 because Pedro Pascal is most likely working on
That's
the
fine.
story.
That's okay. Yeah, we'll be okay. Because
and
you know what? When it comes to Pedro Pascal, a guy like him, they could totally set him up to be like another Tony Stark. Like he can
better.
He can come back for like he's the type of actor that you can get him to come back for a whole bunch of movies, and he can be like the new anchor, because that's something else that the MCU's need, is just like an anchor character that everything kind of ties around into. And like he is easily like that older, like experienced hero character that like could fit where those shoes that like haven't been filled since Tony Stark died. So that's another opportunity too.
Well, it's, with the comics, with intelligence and innovation and inventions, Reed Richards is right on par with Tony Stark.
Yeah, he could easily be another Tony Stark character.
And we've seen, he brings presence to his characters that we love in The Mandalorian and Last of Us. And we'll see what he has in Fantastic Four. The excitement is real. I can't believe a nostalgia poster on Valentine's Day got us talking, but here we are.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to throw something at you guys. And this literally came out, it's a rumor, but it came out a little prior to everybody showing up.
Really?
So rumor has it.
Breaking news.
Yeah, wait, I wouldn't say it's breaking news, but
Fan
it's just
theory.
rumors. And the rumors are that our buddy Henry Cavill has possibly signed with Marvel to be in the movies. Now, I'm going to throw a long shot because everyone thinks that Henry Cavill is going to play like Captain Britain or something
Right.
because he's British and everything. But I'm going to throw a long shot here, like a Hail Mary. What if they chose Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom?
He would do his damned best to be the best
Yeah.
Doctor Doom we have ever gotten on screen.
I would agree with that.
I would be I wouldn't be like jumping at the seams, but I'd be like, you know what? I
could see it.
I love him as an actor. I think I respect everything he's done. Like we've seen how he is with like, franchise things like The Witcher and whatnot. He puts his all into characters like that. So I could imagine him getting the role of Doom. He'd be more excited for that than he was for Superman or any other character he's done yet, in my opinion.
He would be treated right, by the studio.
He would make
unlike
sure
his
the fandom-
previous employer.
You really think so? I don't know about that. I feel like I'm sure his previous employer treated him well. It's just they scrapped everything and started over again.
Well, they
So,
also had
not
numerous.
his fault.
They also had numerous regime changes over and over.
Right.
While Marvel/Disney's been pretty stable since 2008.
Right. So I'm just throwing that out there, just in the rumor mill, just to see, because literally it happened a half hour before you guys showed up.
Well, one thing with Doom that they have to do, once he puts that mask on, he cannot take that mask off. Because I think,
Okay,
I don't care
goes-
that Henry Cavill's face is his moneymaker. You cannot remove that mask.
That's the problem with all comic
MCU
book movies.
as of
Yeah.
late.
I've been saying this
Yeah.
for years. Stop taking your masks off.
Yeah, I know they need to.
Stop.
Contractually, they need to be on screen for a certain amount of
Oh,
time, but
Lord.
they need to. They did it with the Mandalorian. They keep his mask on for like as much time as possible. Do it with Doctor Doom.
That's
do
it.
You did it with Bane. Do it with Doctor Doom. You
Yeah.
have to. You have to.
Well,
It's not
going
even a
back,
question.
going back to something you say, if they did the Doctor Doom movie that you suggested, then he can show his face all they want right, there.
And
Right.
then
Yeah.
from then on you'll know like who the face is behind it. That's why I'm saying like the movie is so important to like just establish him, because there's just too many things that you can't get wrong with him that are easy to get right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's I have all the trust in Kevin Feige to get this right this time with Fantastic Four, because we have yet to see Fantastic Four be done right. But time will tell with that first trailer.
So the question is, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section below and tell us. Are you guys excited? Are you not so excited? Do you think this is going to be a flop, just like what was it, 2016 movie?
It can't be a flop. It cannot be
Can't
a flop.
be that bad, right?
Yeah.
no more
we'll
excuses.
see.
Can't afford to
no
be.
more excuses.
Let us
Yeah.
know in the comment section below. So, gentlemen,
Oh boy.
we are here
Oh Lord.
on the last topic. A topic that brings me great sorrow
Well,
to say
I'm out. I'm
Roll credits.
Good night, everybody.
See you next
Good night,
week.
everybody.
that we're going to talk about a movie that I went in having, I wouldn't say high expectation.
More expectations than us.
I had way more expectation than you guys. Even when everyone was starting to say, "Oh, this movie is going to suck," they got all these reviews coming out and people are saying it's bad, it's bad. I still said, I'm not reading anything, I'm not seeing anything, I'm not hearing anything until I watch this movie. And after watching this movie, I'll let you guys go.
Johnny.
Look, the movie was not good. The movie was straight up garbage.
That's all,
okay?
thanks.
No,
See you
I
next
mean
week.
just to get that out of the way, and thank God we talked about all this other good news first, just to just to make our spirits more positive leading up to
soften
this.
the blow.
But you know what? This movie, like I said in our first impressions, this movie was just a straight up wash, because at this point it doesn't matter with Sony. Like they don't give a shit, so I don't give a shit anymore. That's clearly what was going on in this movie. Everybody, like I feel like everybody knew, like the cast knew that this movie sucked. Like Dakota Johnson, like kind of just phoned it in and just said her lines and left. I think.
I think because that's what she is as an actress.
So robotic.
Yeah,
She's
I mean,
very robotic.
I
so
don't,
it
I don't know
comes
what
out
else
that
she's
way.
been in besides like the
50
50 Shades of Grey movies, but which obviously we haven't seen. But like,
She had a random cameo in the series finale of The Office. She
Whatever,
Was just
yeah.
there.
Well, the thing is, like, you can't point to any one person or one aspect of this movie and say, like, this is what killed it.
Sir.
This
No.
movie was just straight up garbage.
You're absolutely
all
wrong.
around.
I can name. Damn, I should have had these names pulled up. I can name 2 people.
No, I'm saying, like, you can't just point the finger at one single aspect of this movie and say, like,
Oh, no,
it was
yes, you
just the
can.
writing or
No,
it
no,
was
no.
just the directing.
No. If the writing was better, this movie would have been a lot better. The writing
Obviously,
done
yeah.
by Matt Sazama, Burke Sharpless, and Claire Parker. You people should be fired and never, ever work in Hollywood ever again. And I don't say that about anybody. And I feel like you guys are the worst writers ever. You gave us Morbius and you gave us Madam Web. I'm telling you, this is me ranting. You guys suck. I can't say that I'm a better writer, but I don't play a writer on Hollywood.
But you know what though? It's
So-
like the writers are terrible, but then you have the studio, you have the executives that greenlight this shit.
Right, but
You
you
know,
know-
like it's the buck stops with them too, and it's like, you know, like we've seen with Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios, like all the and Bob Iger, that they're all the things that they're doing to right their ship. None of that's happening here, and we, you know, after the flop that was Morbius. This movie, even, you could say Venom 1 was really good or decent at least. Venom 2 I also thought was garbage, but it still sold a lot. And I feel like the only reason why that movie existed was just to advertise No Way Home with its post-credit scene, but that's beside the point. But with this sets such a new low. That's just like, like all these movies that are Spider-Man connected but don't have Spider-Man in them. Like, where are we going with any of this shit?
I think
Is
they're
it
just
going to be they've teased since the Andrew Garfield days that there's going to be a Sinister Six, which I've said before doesn't fucking matter. And at this point, it's never going to happen. They keep teasing, and at certain points, they keep misadvertise or like misleading with their advertising about like,
Yes,
any
I hate
connection to
that.
Spider-Man, like with the Spider-Man poster in Morbius that never showed up in the final movie. How like in this movie it takes place in the past, like Peter Parker was going to be born in this movie. They didn't even name him. There was no sense of connecting this to even any other Sony movie. Like there was no connection to Morbius or Venom or nothing. Where are you going with any of this? Where is like Sony? Like if you don't have a plan, just stop trying. Just do other movies at this point. Give the property to Disney at this point, because I don't know where you want to even go with this.
The one word that comes to this particular movie is cringe. And side note, I did like the Venom movie, so that was one of the few things they got right.
Well, okay, you guys keep bringing up Venom. We all know that this movie sucked. Morbius sucked, right? I have my fingers crossed for Craven. Hopefully, Craven.
I don't
is a
even
lot
care
better.
about Craven at this point. I was gonna say that too. Like,
And here's the thing, and there's a lot of people like we were talking about it, and even you said that you weren't Venom whatever. But the thing is though, Venom has made $1.6 billion to this date. Right?
Both movies combined.
Both movies combined, it has made $1.6 billion. It has made $200 million more than Deadpool, than both Deadpools combined.
Jeez.
listen-
So what does that tell you? Sony knows what they're doing. It's just that I feel like they're getting so greedy and they're just picking anybody to do everything. And what happens? They create garbage.
this is the difference though. It's like Venom is a very popular villain, like in the Spider-Man universe. He's one of the aside from maybe Green Goblin, he's like the most popular villain in Spider-Man. His movie was going to do great because he had that notion behind his, like, he was never done right in movies before, and like the first Venom movie, like that was at least the most accurate yet that we had gotten. So people were hyped about that. Fine. Then we got Carnage, Venom 2. Again, thought it was garbage. I thought they ruined Carnage there just because it wasn't an R-rated movie. Again, beside the point. And then we got Morbius. Who cares about Morbius to begin with? Not that many people. And then you give us a bad movie on top of that. No reason to like him from there. Of course it's going to do bad. Madam Web, once again, there was no reason to be excited for a Madam Web movie. She doesn't have like a following, like her fan base really. And on top of that, it's just, not only was it a bad movie, it was just it's just garbage. Like you watch this movie and you get like infuriated that you are wasting your time. Like the scenes that we got, the dialogue that we got, like there was so many.
It was like kindergartners wrote it.
Yeah,
You couldn't wait. You couldn't wait to be over. Like
So cringe.
I was thinking in my seat, like how
Like
much.
how did we even get the cast that we got in this movie?
First of all, I'm not saying Emma Roberts is the greatest actress ever, but her as Mary Parker was
Wasted.
horrible. It was
Wasted.
wasted. They should have just never. Anyway, I think the best part of this movie was Adam Scott as Uncle Ben. He was great.
He was the only normal human being in this
Right.
movie.
There was some scenes where it was like, oh, why did he say it like that? But other than that, he was.
But that's
good in the
every
movie.
that was every character. That
Right,
was every
but-
character.
Like,
Let me give you an example of a scene.
go ahead.
Let me give you just for people who haven't seen this. I mean, no one's going to see this because I think the box office.
Don't go see it.
The box office is only like 20 million right now.
No.
Not even.
They did a respectable in 5 days. They did a respectable $5 million worldwide.
Jesus Christ.
I'm out.
Jesus Christ.
This movie's so
And well, let me go back to like just an example of one scene as to how ridiculous this movie was. And if I was like any one of the actresses, I would have just walked off the set and be like, "What the fuck is this shit?" Like, so there was a scene where just set up the kind of the premise is like Madam Web is she's protecting these girls. And from the villain, who we'll talk about the villain too, because he's like one of the worst villains I've ever seen in the movie. But he's after the girls. They have to be protected. They get separated, Madam Web from the girls, and then the girls end up at this diner in the middle of nowhere. And Madam Web is Cassie Webb, her name is. She's looking for them, and while she's looking for them, they're eating at the bar. They turn and they see this like really like not an appealing looking group of guys at this table in the corner. They're like, some of them look like bullies, other of them look like jocks, other of them look like people you wouldn't want to walk into on the street. And one of the girls turns to the other, to Sydney Sweeney, who plays like a kind of like a shy character, the shy little girl,
Another waste.
And she turned, and I was almost going to think, because they were like sort of like the boys were like kind of laughing and kind of looking at them, so I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna start trouble or something. And instead of thinking like, oh, don't mind them, the girl tells Sydney Sweeney, you should talk to them. What? Why? You're in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's just the three of you. What do you? It's like a group of like 10 guys, and you're just like 3 girls, teenagers. And then they go up to the two of them. Go up to them. There's a third one that stays behind because she has some sense, thinking like this is a stupid idea. And then they go from like mingling and talking to when Cassie Webb finds them like at the diner. They're on the table dancing. They're dancing on the table for the boys. They're all just like, and no one's eating any food. There's no food on the table. There's nothing, so they have space. Like, and like Sydney Sweeney's wearing a skirt. You could, if I was one of the guys, you could easily look up. Like, and what baffles my mind is that this was directed by a female director.
Yeah.
Like, what in the Me Too movement is this shit? Like, what? Are you kidding me?
Lord,
Like that alone. That was just one scene. That was just one scene out of countless others that were just completely garbage. But if I was Sydney Sweeney with like the way her career has been going, because she's been an actress that's been blowing up. She's like the it girl right now. She's in what looks like a CWB movie thing, dancing on a table for boys. And I would have just looked around and been like, I'm gonna fire my agent for getting me involved in this piece of shit.
Well,
like,
that's what Dakota Johnson did.
yeah,
She got rid of hers.
yeah, yeah.
You guys-
After the first trailer dropped, she
No. Not the first trailer.
The only
Yes. trailer. That's what pisses me off the most.
Sony knew this was a piece
And
of
they
shit.
did. All the best parts are in that trailer.
Yeah,
I think one thing we're in agreement with, and I said this way back when we did our first trailer review, is it just reminds you of a CWT drama. This was the debut episode, but it happened to be a 2-hour debut on the silver screen, and there's going to be no follow-up to it.
I mean,
And
look, I mean, Cassie Webb too. Even her, you can say whether or not she like acted her terribly written character well or not, but like her character was a person who didn't care about people. She worked for a hospital as a first responder, the FDNY as a first responder.
Why?
She was the biggest dick in the entire movie. She hated talking to people. She hated people, and like she acted like she didn't like people.
So let me go
How are
save
you a
people.
first responder?
It makes no sense.
Oh my god!
Okay.
and
man.
another
Go ahead.
another complete waste was, I don't know if you were gonna say this. It was like in the trailer we got the 3 girls in full costume of the comic book characters, but it turned out it was just a dream. We see them in costume.
Premonition.
We see them in the beginning and we see him in the end. It was just over just like that.
It was
They were
30
in
seconds.
costume, I want to say
30
no more-
seconds.
yeah, no more than 30, 35 seconds.
That
They
was
were
a
in
total
Every-
waste.
costume.
Total waste.
Every scene you saw of them, like Sydney Sweeney and the other two girls in Spider-Woman costume, every single scene in the trailer
Is
was
in the movie.
Those were the only scenes in the movie.
Yes.
So it was just like, if you were like, the only reason I feel like Sony was just like, hey, like Sydney Sweeney looks like cute in this like costume. We'll try to market that as hard as possible to get people to see it. But then like you only see them for like half a minute tops in total throughout the entire movie. So they're normal girls just being dragged around trying to get protected by Cassie. And it just was the whole thing was just boring. And yeah, it's
From Evil Spider-Man that they even call.
Yeah, I was
yeah. And then
gonna- I
there's
was
the then
gonna
there's the
bring up-
villain.
I was going to bring up
Go-
Ezekiel Sims.
Go ahead, Speed.
So apparently Tahar Rahim, who plays Ezekiel Sims, that wasn't even his voice. It was dubbed.
I could
Was
tell.
it?
I could tell.
You could tell I said that during the movie. I'm sitting next to Johnny. I was like, yo, wow, this looks like he's dubbed because his lips are moving, but they're not making any sense with the audio. And I'm like, wait, do we have problems at the movie theater?
Yeah.
And it was, nope, it was just him. And there were shots where he's not moving his lips, where he is speaking, and it's like, what's going on over here? And how does he change costumes so fast? He went from having a suit with no shoes to wearing a full blown
in the subway in front of everybody.
what?
And then there's like his whole thing about why he's a villain. It was just so like his motivation, I guess,
So
was
stupid.
so dumb. Like
greed.
These girls will try to kill me in some way, so I gotta kill them first.
And guess
I gotta
what?
go after teenage girls to kill them first.
And guess what? We never find out why.
Yeah, because
Never
we never
found out why.
because we never get shown the girls as Spider Women. That would have explained something at least.
Also, this movie takes place in 2003. The amount of technology that was shown in this movie does not make sense for 2003.
I mean, first of all, the movie looks like something that was made in 2003.
Which, you know what?
Like a
If it
shitty
did come
superhero
out-
movie.
Right, but if it did come out in 2003, it'd be an okay movie.
Doubt.
It'd be an okay movie.
Doubt.
It'd
I
be
think so.
it'd be in a DVD bin.
You would
Yes,
it
but
would
it'd be
would
an
have been
okay movie.
It would have been an Electra.
Which was an okay
No, it wasn't.
movie.
No, even back then it was a pretty shitty movie.
It was
I'm
probably
sorry.
it was probably better than this.
Yeah.
I feel like Sony said, "Oh, we got 4 beautiful women in this, right? 4, yeah, 4 beautiful women in this movie, and let's market it that way. Come see the sexy Spider Women, and we're gonna make millions."
Yeah.
Oh no,
It was
no, sir.
so
You did not
cheap.
make millions at all.
So
I don't even
cheap.
think you made half your budget back yet.
Yeah,
Nope.
it was just such like a disgrace, honestly. Like just and some people who I feel like who haven't seen this movie are like, this is why are you like getting to be like so like up this movie's ass compared to like Morbius. Like the thing is like with Morbius, at least it had like a memeable factor to it that you could laugh. There was nothing funny in this movie about how bad it was. It was just so bad that you just felt annoyed and insulted and just like I wasted my time and money for this shit. Like this was
It's webbing time.
but there was nothing like that. Like nobody's even bothering to do that this time around because it was just that bad.
The one thing I want to say is, I'm all about, foreshadowing and Easter eggs. So overused of the webbing. We get it. The movie's called Madam Web. They're gonna be future Spider-Woman. It was like every friggin' scene, on the windows. It was in the shape of a web. We friggin' get it.
Oh yeah, when the bird crashed into the window and the crack
Yeah.
was in the shape of a web. Like
Yeah.
it's so dumb. Like
And we're saying everything. We're saying everything referencing Spider-Man without actually calling Spider-Man. That's why we're calling him Ceiling Man.
that's been the whole MO of all these Sony movies, though. That's why I'm saying at this point, it's just either give your Spider-Man properties to Disney, which I know is like not a good idea business-wise, but like, what else are you doing with it at this point? It's clear you're just making this just to hold on to the copyright, and you don't even you're not even keeping it a secret that you don't give a shit about your fan base at this point. Like it's that's the thing. Like you've been making people wait all this time. Maybe there's Spider-Man. Maybe there'll be an Andrew Garfield connection. Maybe there will be some connection across Venom
nothing.
to Morbius to that at least. No, not even a Sinister. Forget Sinister 6 at this point. Like
Nope.
it's done. That's dead. It's been dead. But like there wasn't like even with Madam Web. Like there's like a whole multiverse aspect to her character.
Right.
Right.
There is, yeah.
We just got. Across the Spider-Verse, which was a really good Sony Spider-Man movie, an animated one, but a good Spider-Man movie nonetheless. I would have been like at least like for a post-credit scene, just show some
Something.
sort of connection for her multiverse powers or whatever they may be. But you know where powers are? Literally being in more than one place at once, because that final fight scene, the only real fight scene that we got, like honestly,
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because how many times in this movie did she run over Ceiling Man?
but that the whole movie was her running, like
Twice.
dragging the girls with her, running away from him. Like he catches up, she runs away. He catches up, she has her premonition and runs away. So there was no real fight scenes until the end.
Oh, and this is the best part. Ready? Okay. If you have lived in New York
Yeah.
for even 5 minutes, even in 2003, if you were driving around in a stolen
Oh my
taxi cab and you removed the license plates from said cab and you're driving back and forth from New York to New Jersey,
Getting a headache just listening to this again.
you are going to get pulled over every 30 seconds. In this movie, she's driving around in a stolen cab with no plates back and forth from New York City to New Jersey. Back and forth, back and forth. It happened like 2-3 times. What?
No, because
Does NYPD not work in the Sonyverse?
Because the writers forgot about their own subplot halfway through the movies. Because remember, the NYPD, after that subway scene, they were all going after Cassie because they all saw that she was, quote unquote, kidnapping these girls, which made no sense to begin with. But then they forgot completely about that afterwards, and she just freely used that taxi cab to go wherever she wanted.
We need a car. Let's just keep using this one.
like,
It's okay.
oh my God. But again, another reason why this was just an insult of a movie. Like,
And there's still an ambulance towards the end that comes crashing through the wall for no reason.
oh,
That was the second time they
Not
ran him
just
over.
crashing through the wall, crashing through the like a third tier garage wall, like garage level, down onto the fucking villain. And Dakota Johnson's character was completely unscathed. Not one scratch, not one thing, not no
Airbags
nothing.
didn't deploy. Nothing.
Yeah. And then she went through that final fight scene where she was in 5 different places at once. She had that I don't know, spiritual connector to everybody that she was able to pull them all and save them all from falling at the same time. Also stupid. But then she gets hit in the eyes with when she falls into the water, and then like the part of the Pepsi sign. By the way, that the Pepsi
The giant S.
product placement was insane in this movie. But then she gets hit in the eyes with like a firework or something because it was a fireworks building that was blowing up.
Yeah.
And then, so we understand she's blind, like in the comics, I get it. And then she's in the hospital, she's recovering. And then the final scene where she's like in full Madam Web character. Now she's like a paraplegic in a wheelchair. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
I guess she broke her back when she fell in the water too. I don't know, but like, they didn't explain anything.
In Sony's defense, if you want to call it that way, there was a lot of people. There were way too many cooks in that kitchen, and apparently there's been rewrites during the movie being shot.
That makes sense.
There were so many rewrites that nobody thought about continuity or anything, and that's why
This movie was
that happened.
This movie was definitely set up to have a version of Spider-Man in it, and
Yes.
Spider-Man appeared on screen.
Right.
That's why they probably couldn't take out certain.
Well, the thing is that
Connections
they shouldn't have, their mistake with that was that they set this in 2003, and that wouldn't have worked with any iteration of Spider-Man we have. If they wanted to even do a Tom Holland, it wouldn't have really made sense.
No, I think it would have made more sense with Andrew Garfield.
No, because he would have needed to be even older. It's 2003. There was no reason for it to be in that year.
They could have easily done this. They could have had, for argument's sakes, because Andrew Garfield is my favorite version of Spider-Man, they could have taken Andrew Garfield when he left, what was it? No Way Home?
Yeah.
Right? When he left No Way Home, he accidentally went to the wrong universe
No,
and then showed
I hate
up
it
over
already.
there.
I hate it already.
That would have been a lot better.
It would've been- it would've
wouldn't
been
have.
better.
It would have been. That would have made things even more confusing. Come on, the average moviegoer would have been like, "What
At
the
this
fuck?"
point, who cares? Because it's so confusing. This movie is so confusing.
But that's my point.
It doesn't matter.
When-
you
when-
could have done that and it would have been like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Because it doesn't.
No, because when you get to the point where you just throw your hands up in the air and say, "I don't care anymore," that's when you know the movie's just complete garbage. But the best thing that should have happened to this movie is that they just went the Batwoman route with this, like Warner Brothers did, and
Here
just
co-
cancel
here
it.
comes-
Cancel it before it hits the the theaters, because there was nothing about this that was redeemable. And now they just wasted all this money, and they damaged their Spider-Man brand.
They did. They damaged
really-
the whole Sony brand. Forget about just Spider-Man. Why would anybody want to
After
go see
Morbius?
Craven?
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to see.
Why would you want to go see Craven now?
Craven, yeah. There's no reason to at this point. There's no reason why anybody should get excited to see these movies anymore. Stick with the MCU.
So we had a lot to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did have a lot to say. But I have a question for you guys. Was there anything redeeming in this movie? Anything good? Okay.
Small Easter eggs from the time. You saw a Blockbuster real quick. You heard the Britney Spears
No,
song
that was
Toxin.
dumb. That was also dumb.
Even though it was real quick, I was okay with even though the character's older in the comics and the Spider-Man animated series, I was okay with the visual of Cassie at the end and the full get up.
But it made no sense.
Yeah,
The one thing I will say is that they actually had a decent premise on paper. Like the scenes that we got of her experiencing deja vu when she was getting her psychic powers for the first time, I thought that was kind of cool, but it was just so short-lived before all the other fuckery happened that I was just like, this movie's just, it doesn't know what the hell it wants to be. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Not worth it.
So
10 out of 10 garbage.
with those words that we had to say about this movie, we're going to leave it up to you. Did you see it? We're sorry. If you didn't see it, we saw it for you. Be sorry for us. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And yeah, that's it on that part. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we have anything else to say?
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify as well. We now have a podcast platform there too.
Yeah,
very excited about
which will only be in audio form only. So if you want to see our lovely faces, make sure you come step on to YouTube. Other than that, guys, I think that's it. We're out.
Roll credits.